It's BlackBerry Today, Episode 5, brought to you by Squarespace. Sit down with one of the actual research and motion professionals for some hot tips and our cool apps of the week.
And go.
Can we go now?
Yes, we can go now.
It's Episode 5, everybody. Welcome back. Brief little departure for a few days, only because we have something special here to give you as an interview in the middle. So a little special treat, which added up to a little more content. So what we're going to do is shrink a little bit of our time down, talk about the news, talk about the apps and some tips, but also we have an interview that was done in the middle. And should we tell them now or just wait?
Tell them now.
Tell them now. Jennifer Stevenson of Research in Motion. I can't remember what her title is for the life of me, but we've met Jennifer many times over at events all around the world. So we had the chance to sit down with her, and she gave us some tips and also some information, some news, and we talked to her for, 10 or 15 minutes, I believe.
Yep.
So that'll be a middle part somewhere. We're going to blend that in. We'll tell you when we're getting to it. But otherwise, we're gonna catch up and get everybody back to where you are. Once again, thank you to our new viewers as well as the ones that have been sticking with us. And we have reader comments. We've been getting emails like crazy, so everyone's been paying attention to us. Yeah, so we'll do that at the end. I think we have a flow now.
Okay.
So you're up first. You've got news, and you've got your...
I got news.
It's the way we do it. Go for it.
Okay. So this week, I don't know, the days all blend, Facebook for BlackBerry version 2 beta 3, I think, was available. That's if you're in the beta program, which is not difficult to do. You basically click a link, sign up, you're in. And you can get Facebook for BlackBerry, the newest version, which has Wi-Fi support. An interesting thing I thought that it had is deleting comments and posts. So before you couldn't do that, which was can be somewhat panic-ridden if you've commented and you didn't mean to and you did it on your BlackBerry, then you had to go find somewhere else and get on Facebook and delete it. So now you can delete from the app. And a prompt to remove messages from just a handheld. So if someone sent you a private message on Facebook and you hit delete, it just automatically deleted it from your Facebook account as well as from the handheld. And now it's a little bit more like your email, like with a Gmail account or something where you hit delete and it asks you delete it from just the handheld or both the handheld and your actual account.
Very nice.
That was interesting. So that's that.
Nice.
June 5th, the Playbook was available on Sprint.
Yay?
June 5th.
Yeah, do I say yay? Yay?
Yay? If you're on Sprint, you're excited, right?
Yes, for the users that are on Sprint. Okay.
Yep, and an interesting thing I saw on the announcement was at the very bottom in very small writing was that we are working on 4G as well with Research in Motion. That was from the Sprint announcement, said we're also working on 4G. So that was interesting.
Okay.
So there's that, and the last bit of news I have is the mobile conferencing app is now available, which was interesting because you had a few episodes ago the tip on putting in the subject on your conference calls to join the meet or the CCM, whatever, with the number and the passcode, and I tried that out, and it was totally awesome. It was really great. I had a conference call calendar popped up on my BlackBerry. It had a button for joining now. I went to go type in the passcode. It was already there. I just hit the button. It was really great. So the mobile conferencing app just sort of takes all of that and has that available for you.
So instead of a specially designed subject line, the application will take care of that for you by inputting some of the information.
It takes the information from your calendar entries for you and helps you out with that.
And people should be aware, inside the BlackBerry, you can actually configure a conference line inside the configuration, but if you're like everybody else, you're dialing into numerous conference line calls. So you're missing out. You can't always use the same one. So the application then takes care of helping you, right?
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. So now that's not your app of the week, though. That's just news.
That's just news because that's available now.
I don't want you to get out there early. Right. I don't want you to cheat on it. So.
Right.
What else do you have in Newsland?
That's it for news.
That's it for news?
That's it.
So I'll tell you what we'll do. Like I told everybody, it's about 10 or 15 minutes, and this was live, done over in London with Jennifer for a few. So what we'll do is we'll cut in here for everybody, and then we'll come back and do our apps and do our tips and then get everybody out of here because that's such a big deal. So everybody, watch the interview, and it's actually me holding the camera, so I didn't have to say anything. But you got to sit with Jennifer, and we'll let that roll.
All right. right, good start. So we're here with Jennifer Stevenson from Research in Motion, and she is going to give us some tips.
Hi, thank you very much, Kathy. So, and Chris. So we were talking the other day about some of the tips, and one of the things that I think a lot of people don't do is actually check the application permissions that they have for applications that they download. So there's a lot of different apps out there and a lot of different developers, so you have to be careful. And most times, like everybody, when you download something, you do next, 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 I accept everything.
Save.
Yes, just go, go, go.
I want my app.
So you want to actually go back. You can do it later usually, is go back into your options, application management, and you'll get a listing of all your applications, and then all you have to do is go through the menu, do edit permissions, and what you do is you get a listing of all the different kind of areas that the application wants to touch on your BlackBerry. So for instance, say you've downloaded a weather app. It's asking you for GPS access, obviously, because it needs to know where you are.
Right.
But if you're downloading a game, why would the game want access to SMS or your telephone or your contacts? So it gives you an opportunity to go back and say, really, do you want that application to have access to this or that? You'll notice sometimes that a lot of the free applications, they want access to your contacts and everything. And if you disable that access, it won't work anymore. That should kind of tell you, well, what information is it gathering? Especially if it asks you for access to the internet, because obviously it means it might be using or grabbing information and sending it on. So it's a good opportunity to go back and just look and see what you haven't installed. And I always do it when I'm on the tube or I'm somewhere where I have a bit of time, just to kind of go through and make sure that, you know, the applications that I have on my BlackBerry are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not doing anything else.
Right. I like that you said, too, to go into the applications list rather than going into each application individually. And a good tip, it's a good idea to go into the applications list and just see what you have, because a lot of times you've downloaded stuff, you don't use it, it's still on there, you can delete it, too.
And you can see how much space you have and if you want to get new stuff. But like you said, there's stuff that we download because we've gone to some conference and somebody's told you about, and it's really cool for the time. And then, you know, we're like, why do I still have that?
Yeah, a year later, why is this here? And also because, like you said, if you break it, if you turned off something and it needed that, then you can go in through the applications list and still change the settings there to put it back, to give it, if you want to, you know, have it working. So.
So if it's a cool app and you're like, actually, I really, really want it, you can go back and fudge a bit with the permissions and stuff.
Gotcha. Anything in particular, like something to watch out for, you know?
I always look at the applications that are looking for access to my contacts, just because, you know, I bring a lot of contacts into my BlackBerry. So I always want to know what applications want access to my contacts, as well as anything that wants access to the internet that shouldn't maybe have access to the internet. And then also applications that want access to my phone. Just because, again, you don't know what they're doing.
Right. Some things make sense. Like Facebook should have access to your contacts.
Yeah, because especially if you want them to bring through, like LinkedIn, you want to be able to associate. Another good thing is if you add tweets and locations, do you want people to know where you're located? So now it's very important, especially for us, you know, we travel. Do you want people to know where you are all the time? So being aware of what has access to GPS, things like that. So it's also, you want to say it's kind of common sense, but you know what I mean. You just want to be aware of it. So yeah, those are the things. So contacts, internet, and telephone. I always want to see who wants what access.
And I'm not sure if this is something that you would know at Research in Motion. How much? What do they go through for an application? Like, I'm a developer and I submit an application and I'm saying I need access to this, this, and this. Does Research in Motion go okay, or do they say, well, why are you asking them for contact?
Well, I'm not on the app approval list, and there's a whole process I know of, but I know that when a developer, let's say, is developing a consumer app from the external side as opposed to internally, I know there's a whole vetting process, and they want to make sure that, number one, the application is secure, and then number two, the application doesn't use excessive battery, because one of the good things about BlackBerry is security as well as the battery life. So I know they go through a round of reviews, because I have been cornered at Lotus Fair where somebody says, hey, my application's been waiting for approval for months. And that's maybe because, hey, wait a minute, they're asking you, why is it getting contact to this? Why do you want this? Why do you want that? Or even, you know, maybe they've made a good case about why they want access to your contacts list, but then they have to go back and make sure it's in all the agreements for the consumer to look at, because technically we should be reading all those agreements, but maybe it's but maybe it's not in there. So going back and making sure, because I think one of the things is they want to make sure that any apps that are included in our app world, they are safe and effective for use. Exactly. And I mean, the ones that are outside on the net, you know, it's a bit hard, but the ones that we actually have harvested within our app world are vetted fairly rigorously.
Okay, good to know. Okay, awesome tip.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right, so everybody, welcome back. So that was the interview we had with Jennifer. Hopefully everyone got some good information. She told you her title because, once again, I don't remember. Since everyone knows I edited that in for the interview.
Very nice.
But, no, like I said, we've known her for a while, and she was kind enough to take literally a few minutes before she got on a flight to do the interview. So we want to jump in and also thank our sponsor, Squarespace. And we're probably going to add in another sponsor for BlackBerry, but this one's been good for everyone out there that says, I want to start my own blog or start talking, or you want to talk about BlackBerry or whatever else it is. Squarespace is the place to go. Being able to go online, simply input the information you need, drag and drop your UI, change the look and feel. If you're a photographer, a blogger, someone that's never done it before and don't know anything about designing, they do it all for you. It's all hosted by them. It's all scalable, so if all of a sudden you get hit by Slashdot or you get hit by Mashable or whatever, don't worry about bandwidth. They take care of it for you. It's all included. So we have a special link for you to get you in. And if you check our show notes, I actually have a 10% discount code now, too, for them.
Ooh.
So everyone goes out and checks the site, check the show notes for this episode. I have a special code for you in the link to get you 10% off. So the first 14 days is free. No credit card required. You can play with it. You can test it. You can import from other systems. You can export out again. Whatever you want to do, it's there and ready to go. So Squarespace is an awesome hosting platform. The design stuff is incredible, and we thank them for working with us to sponsor the show. So it is application time. And am I first?
Sure.
I usually go first with the apps.
I don't know.
This is a duel. Well, I'm going first today. So I found an app. This is called Endomondo with an E. I know you got your attention already, didn't it?
Yeah.
Endomondo for the BlackBerry users. If you see your friends running by on their little Android phones or they're running by on their little iOS, Apple, and they're doing all the fun stuff with they have the ability to do some apps like Runkeeper and some tracking and others. Endomondo also offers it on BlackBerry. So they work with Android, they work with BlackBerry, HTC, Nokia, Samsung, all that stuff. But what it allows you to do is you can sign up with Facebook or sign up with an email address or log in. It uses your GPS, and any sporting event you do, be it hiking or cycling, or running, whatever it is, it'll actually track your progress. It'll track your speeds. It'll let you share it. Their main homepage for Endomondo has a Twitter stream running up the middle to let you know how fast people are going, tracking the amount of miles they went, what they were riding, and it tells you the task. So running, mountain biking, cycling, whatever it is. So it is a free application. They have a free version on here, and it works pretty well. You do have to turn on your GPS, so keep in mind, for those that don't run GPS all the time, it can suck a battery down. So basically, turn on your GPS, do your event, remember to turn it back off. So it can't kill your battery. But here's the kicker. Right now on their homepage, from June 1st to July 1st, they have a calorie challenge for BlackBerry. Most calories burned across all sports, so it's an average. Most calories burned across all sports during this month. The prize is a BlackBerry Torch smartphone. Nice. So they're giving away a torch. It's on their homepage. You can join in and participate for the torch itself. As usual, we'll get a screenshot up for you of the interface. But they actually did a good UI, as everyone can see as we zoom in a little bit. They really did a good UI on the interface. Pretty clean, pretty nice and slick. This is the Storm 2, so it's a little wider screen for those that have, one of the other ones. For those on Verizon with an 88X or an 8830 phone, GPS is goofed up. Don't even think about it. It's not the app. That phone somehow in the GPS is having issues, and that's their global phone, non-storm based.
So you had mentioned Runkeeper. So
Yeah.
is it like Runkeeper? So if I go on a run, it tracks my route and tells me how far I went, and can I see a map and all of that too?
From what I understand, now I've only played with it once because I hate to run, so I didn't. It doesn't have a good benefit for me all the way. But tracks your running, cycling, other sports, and apparently does have mapping integration built into it as well.
I'm a little amused that this app came from you as opposed to me, because I actually run, and actually today, completely coincidental, wore my little necklace from the marathon I ran. So interesting. I'll have to check that out.
Can't help you. While you do your app, I'll try to get the answer for you. So go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cool. So my app is Tripit. Hopefully, a lot of you are using Tripit already, but if you're not, and in fact I saw a tweet from Tripit earlier today that someone had said, "Why did I wait so long?" #facepalm. And Tripit just completely rocks. So Tripit has the web browser, UI where you can add your details, log in, all of that kind of stuff. You can connect with other people. You can see your itineraries. The best part is that they give you the email address that you set up from. You can forward your plans. So say you book a flight, you get the itinerary emailed to you. You just forward that to Tripit, and they create the itinerary for you. Even cooler, you get, say, a hotel email for that. Forward that. It's smart enough to know to put them together based on the dates or however it magically works, and puts them all together into one itinerary. You can share that itinerary with people. You can see who's going to be near you when you're traveling, all these really great things. And it works fantastically on the BlackBerry. So the BlackBerry has its own Tripit app where you can see all of your itineraries or itineraries that other people have put you on, so you can see the details. So everything's on there. I love it. I walk up to the counter at the hotel. What's your confirmation number? You know, normally I'm digging through my bag trying to find a piece of paper or whatever. Instead, it's all on the BlackBerry. I have flight numbers. I have frequent flyer numbers. I have hotel reservations. All of it right there in the Tripit app. Love it.
Very nice. Very nice. So what I found out for us while we're looking.
Well, you weren't listening to me. Yeah.
Well, I use Tripit. So let's clarify that.
Right.
Tripit is an awesome application. I love the way it'll tell you the destination, the time. They do have a pro feature, but the free one does so much for you entirely. But it really keeps a good track and a rolling thing, and it can integrate with your calendar.
Yes.
So you can all your information.
Oh, completely forgot to mention that. Yes, so it does. It integrates with your calendar, so it can automatically add all of your information onto your calendar as well.
Right.
Yes.
That was another benefit of the whole thing was the calendar integration. So I went into the site and finished the sign up process for Endomondo, and it'll ask you your age if you want. It'll ask you you don't have to put any of this, but it'll ask you male or female, your age, and then any of your body information. But it then does give you the distance you've traveled, type of travel, calories burned, how many trips to the moon or trips around the world you did. So it compares it to how far you've
Very
actually.
Cool.
Very cool. And then it prompted me to do the challenge. I can see other people and workouts. You can connect via Facebook, which I showed in the screenshot, but you can connect via Facebook, which is kind of cool. You can also then connect with other people, and you can draw a route, search a route, give it instructions and distance to filter the routes that have shown. So on the map, there's a bunch of routes people have done and placed them on the maps.
Excellent.
So it actually shows you other ones that are there, and you can actually draw your own, which is really cool. And the number on the marker tells you how many routes are in the area. So by your region or area, for example, I'll just grab one, Washington, or Seattle. There's 558 routes in that area that people have done. Manitoba, Canada, for our international, 2. So if you're in Manitoba, you may want to add a few in there. Some states are missing them entirely, but to give you an idea of how far this app goes, I see some all the way up in Alaska. I see them down into South America, all over South America, Hawaii, Europe, Africa. I mean, they're everywhere. So this app is being
Very
used.
Cool.
Yeah. There's 9,600 in Denmark. I'm thinking that's a hot spot for this app. And based on the name, I'm thinking maybe it was made somewhere in Europe, because Europe is a real heavy usage of this application.
Cool.
There you go. And you can connect up, like I said, to people as well as workouts, gear, events, things like that. So very cool.
Awesome.
All right. So we are on to tips for the day. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Go first with the tip.
So the last week or so, I was lucky enough to finally get my hands on a Playbook. And so my tip this week is a Playbook tip. I am apparently touch challenged, and a lot of the time when I touched the screen, it wouldn't register where I was touching, and it happened mostly around the bezel. Not from the bezel, not the gesture from the bezel down, but if there was a button near the top that was close to the bezel, I don't know, my fingers are too big, too small, it wasn't working. So what I figured out randomly that works, and maybe it'll work for somebody else, this is a silly, crazy tip, but my pinky sideways and or my knuckle worked almost every time when my finger pad did not work. It's crazy.
Are you one of those people that don't even have fingerprints?
No, I have fingerprints.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know if you were. I scraped them off to avoid the lot. Wait, of course I have fingerprints. Oh, that's why I'm asking the question. Or, I don't know. I didn't know what you were. I didn't know why it wouldn't work. Do you have feelings in your hand? Can you feel your fingertips?
I can feel my fingertips. So that's sort of a silly little tip, and I have no idea if it'll really help anyone. But the other tip I have is a legitimate tip. On the Playbook, if you want to take a screenshot, simply press the both volume buttons at the same time, and it'll take a screenshot of what's on your Playbook. Did
you have to use your knuckle or pinky for that, or could you use your finger?
No, you can just use your regular finger pads. It feels hard with knuckles, I think.
I just had to ask the question. That's all I needed to know. This is basically where I was headed with this one.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it real quick before I do mine. So the Playbook had it to test, and overall impression? Still torn. Still early, still torn.
I think I need more time with it. It was a little unfair because I was traveling, very busy, doing a lot of other things, so I didn't really have a lot of time to play with it. Also, 4 or 3 of the days that I had it, I had very little internet access, so that's kind of a kicker. So I think I need more time with it. You know, I'm trying to... It's interesting being someone who has used an iPad, because obviously I had a learning curve with the iPad. I know everybody says there isn't one and it just works, but for me there was a learning curve. Coming from PCs to an iPad, there was a learning curve. And so now going instead to the Playbook, there's another learning curve. And I don't think I had it long enough to get over that.
One deciding thing, when you picked it up, did you immediately find value? Right when you picked it up, did you immediately find, saying, oh, I could do this?
Well, the first thing I noticed when I picked it up was how much lighter it was and smaller it was than the iPad, to me. Then the second thing, of course, was the video. So everybody talks about how the video... the multitasking, you know, like I always say video when I talk about multitasking, but really you could have a video playing and move that app sort of out of your way, do other things while the video continues to play, which is a really nice thing. So that definitely was right there for me of interest.
Okay, just curious. So I'm gonna double dip. I'm gonna do my tip that also came from a reader and then read what he said as part of some of our email. So I'm gonna double dip. Okay. So mine is easy enough.
So you're cheating is what you're saying. Your tip is actually from someone else.
I want to give him credit for sending the tip. It's not from someone else.
Okay.
So Jeff, and if I say your last name, I don't know if it's Pause or Pausey. I'm sorry if I say it wrong or incorrectly. Jeff sent us he's a VP of engineering at a company. So he sent us a good one, and I'll read his letter in a little bit. But his tip was things like the torch. So instead of doing a battery pull to reboot, which we all have to do sometimes on our BlackBerries, for those that are new to it or have not done it yet, there are times and tendencies when the only way to make it work again is to pull the battery. No big deal. It reboots itself. It takes a minute. Everything's fine. Clears up any of the memory stuff, which you gave a great tip about making sure the memory gets cleaned up. But a battery pull is the only way to go. There are some applications that can attempt to do it, but there's keyboard shortcuts, and he sent us the good one, mainly like the torch, which is hard to do a battery pull on the torch. It's not like Storm, which just has a little bitty pop screen on the back, and the screen comes off, and there's the battery, right? That easy, pop it out, you're done. Things like the torch have a hard time doing it. So if you grab it, hold down left alt, right shift, delete. So left alt, right shift, delete. It will do a device reboot, just like pulling a battery. Mm-hmm. So people should know that. So for those that have it, if you have a virtual keyboard like we do on the Storm, you can still do the same thing. You can do the alt, shift, and delete together. You just have to be with better fingers on the touch screen, but it works the same. So you can do battery pulls by showing the keyboard anywhere you are. It doesn't work while you're composing an email. You got to do it from the main screen, but it does work. And for those, we'll do that as a tip next time. It does work. So we've been getting some emails, and Jeff is also triple dipping, I just realized. This is a triple dip. Not only do we get a tip, but we got an email from a reader, and he gives us an application.
Excellent. We should just have him on the show.
Well, we could have, but he didn't leave us a voicemail or a video. We would have put him in now. Everyone should know. We should cover it now. If you want to send us an email, it's bbtoday@spikestudio.com. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, we can embed the audio, 443-BB-TODAY, and leave us a voicemail. If you want to leave a video, feel free to do so. Send us a tweet, BBTODAY. Yes, we're still trying to get BB today, but it's being difficult. But BBTODAY on Twitter. And I believe we have fired up the page for Facebook for everyone to start following on all the shows. We need more likes to make it a better URL. You have to get to so many. So we'll get to that point. We'll put the link in the show notes. So Jeff writes, got himself a Playbook. It's one of his favorite devices. Long live the Playbook. He came across the BlackBerry Today podcast series and been watching them all. Amazing job to both of us. Thank you for the great job. He's a doubt when he's alone, when he's learned some great tips, and the information that we give is very useful. So thank you to Jeff for that. Thank you very much. So, Jeff, we're going to, and when we get T-shirts and stuff, maybe we'll send you one. But we don't have any. We have nothing. Nothing to give you but our thanks at this point, just so you know. What we'll give you is the application he provided, which apparently isn't in App World. So I thought it was a great one. And maybe we'll highlight it next time, but it's called AutoWifi. He's used it for over a year without any issue. It's free. You installed it on Curves and a Torch. You connect to your wireless connection as normal, then launch AutoWifi and select Add Location. You can repeat that for all locations. It then automatically turns on and off Wi-Fi when you're within range, assuming you're using your tower. So you can automatically switch to Wi-Fi mode using this app and the right location based upon triangulation. Saves battery, turns it on and off when necessary. You don't need to turn on Wi-Fi manually anymore. And it's m.chrisware, K-R-I-S-W-A-R-E, m.chrisware.com from your BlackBerry browser to get the app. So that's Wi-Fi. It's very nice, and he said it's not in App World, but it's a great feature for those with Wi-Fi on your device to be able to use triangulation to turn it on and off, to not use your data and get better speed. So, Jeff, thank you all the way around for the tip, for the wonderful email thanking us. We're glad you love the show, and also for a cool little app that you can't find anywhere in App World and you had to have the URL.
Excellent.
So it's on to yours. Anything else? Did you have anything email-wise? Nothing else?
No, that's it. That's all I got. I did my tip. I did my app. I did the news. We're good.
And we did the whole interview thing. We're great to go. Once again, send us an email. Upload a video, less than 30 seconds or so. We'll embed it and put it in. If you want to send the emails, we'll read it. If you want to send a voicemail, we'll play it. If you want to send us a tweet, which we've gotten some tweets, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. We responded.
Okay. So the tweets have come in as well. That's a good way to reach. It's BBTODAY on there. And otherwise, that is episode 5 and episode 6 coming out here in a few. I think we've been doing about every 10 days or so. Has been a good cycle for us. So if anyone has anything else, you know where to reach us. Otherwise, say goodbye, and we will see you in a few days.
Bye.